The first Sinnoh short is The Old Chateau, and it's yet another really damn good one. But for the opposite reasons than the last one. While the scoop was a great overblown action, fun, this is great for being subtle, and for Pokemon at least, minimalist and creepy. Cheryl and her oddly creepy Chansey happen upon the Old Chateau and ask to stay the night, but the butler and the house aren't exactly what they seem. Well, okay, they're exactly what they seem. He's a creepy butler, it's a creepy house, but they're even creepier than how they first seem. Right from the beginning, there's an unsettling atmosphere underlining this episode, although maybe that's because I know some certain trivia. The trees in the opening are based on a Japanese wood nicknamed Suicide Forest, where many people each year go to take their lives.
And people say Pokemon's just for kids!
When inside, the games start right away with a creepy painting watching them and pretend dinner.
This looks amazing!
Looks better than any school dinner I've had.
I mean, them miming eating food, the off-putting scraping sound of the butler's weird pedo face, makes this either the most terrifyingly funny or funnily terrifying scene ever. Yeah, it's funny. Then with them walking away, the muddled structure of the chateau makes it clear escape would be hard, as well as confusing both Cheryl and the viewer. Don't mind me, just melting through the floor like every Tuesday evening. And after some great build-up, we get a pretty terrifying payoff with poison gas?
My god, that ghost farted!
Plus the design of Haunter, or at least what I assume is Haunter, is a great and scary Easter egg to the Electric Tale of Pikachu manga. The voice acting only makes this worse. Well, in how good it is, as Stephanie Sheh voices Cheryl. I don't want to think of Sailor Moon, Kuro, or Mikuru going through this. And just to finish off this fair of fright.
Oh, you had your
Oh, thank God. Is it bad that I find a little girl scarier than whatever the hell that is?
And that ending, that frighteningly ambiguous ending. I mean, I like to think this happens before the player reaches Eterna Forest, and this is the reason why Cheryl's too scared to go alone, but if it happens afterwards...
Well, where would Cheryl be in that course of events, Ollie?
She did!
Thanks, Ollie.
Up next is The New World, where Cyrus finalizes plans to use Dialga and Palkia to create a new world, but is interrupted by Giratina. It could just be my nostalgia for Gen 4, but I'm disappointed at what was cut from the game. Not just the protagonist, but also the Lake Trio, showing the power of Dialga and Palkia together, as they couldn't stop them. And Cynthia just showing up to do bugger all, I felt underwhelmed by, since she's one of my top 5 favourite Pokemon NPCs. It's also kind of abrupt how Cyrus can immediately summon Dialga and Palkia, with no explanation for how he got the red chain. But then again, the blue orb wasn't explained in the cavern, and this is only 5 minutes, so it's not a game breaker. However, the good things completely overshadow my little gripes, especially when Giratina shows up. Like the Old Chateau, the image of Giratina's eyes glowing from the portal to our world, as well as it coming into our world, is deliciously creepy. But instead of being a living shadow, like in Platinum, it looks like some kind of primordial ooze possessed by a demon. Heck, when it frees Dialga and Palkia, they run away from sheer terror, and then it eats Cyrus. Although the absence of the protagonist does inadvertently show how insignificant the player is in the events of Diamond, Pearl and Platinum, considering the godlike scale of the legendaries, although they did remove the bit about Giratina's rage destroying the universe, it's just something I find kind of funny. But getting back to the King of Death Glares, this short's portrayal of Cyrus is absolutely amazing. I really wish the full casters for the series could be released because his voice actor is excellent. Fully understanding that what made Cyrus such an intimidating threat in the games was how emotionless and inhuman he seemed. A complete enigma.
Everything is ready for the creation of a new world. Now everything will end.
and there will be a new beginning.
While his portrayal in the anime was okay, he was a bit over the top and cackling. Even as a kid, I found the game Cyrus far better. This Cyrus is subtle and stoic without it coming off as being bored, which takes a lot of skill to pull off. Hell, he's such a badass he doesn't even flinch when the Pokemon world Satan drags him into another dimension, scolding like a disobedient child as it eerily looms over him. That's pretty ballsy.
Are you content now that you've interfered with my plans and ruined everything?
Now go float in that corner of desolation and despair and think about what you've done.
Plus, in a way, he wins in the end. He realizes that the distortion world is the place free of spirit he craved for so long, and he actually changes expression. Although I do kind of wish we were in the distortion world more for a bit, because I just love the theme for it in-game and here. I also found it kind of sad to see Team Galactic in total panic after their leader disappears. I mean, they're pretty stupid, so a lot of them will probably just stick their fingers in electrical sockets or jump into Mount Silver when he left. While the short opens kind of meh, it easily grows to become one of the best as soon as Giratina oozes its way onto screen. Just, man, is it so good.
Do not look for me.
Master Cyrus, where are you?
The last Gen 4 short is The Magma Stone, where Charon and the remnants of Team Galactic awaken Heatran as Buck and Looker Senpai intervene. This one is a kind of underwhelming end to the Sinnoh shorts. While Heatran's pretty threatening, the Creation Trio have the power of gods, so this one just kind of pales in comparison to the last. However, that doesn't make it bad by any means, it's still great. The animation's just as good as usual, looks a freaking badass, as well as his Crogun, which is able to hold off a legendary, and it even has Bryce Papenbrook as Buck.
What do you think we should do?
What good are you anyway? You're totally useless, dude!
Sure, he gets a little annoying with his dudes.
I'm an amazing dude.
I mean, dude, I'm such an amazing dude that no dude could have the dudiness that this dude.
Are you capable of saying a sentence without dude in it?
Well, dude.
But Papenbrook gives an energized performance and shows why he's in pretty much every anime dub these days. Also, the way he puts the Magma Stone back with his clay doll to calm Heatran. Pretty awesome. While this short wasn't as good as the last two, it's still pretty great, and a decent end to the shorts based around my personal favourite generation. Also, Heatran roars like a T-Rex from Jurassic Park. Gen 5 begins with The Uprising, seeing Iris go to confront Team Plasma at their fortress, but gets overwhelmed, before all the Unova gym leaders show up to help her. This short was a great way to kick off the Unova based episodes, as one of the best parts of any Pokemon game was the climax of Black and White. Although I guess Team Plasma have some Earthbenders on contract, otherwise how could they rise their fortress so quickly?
Those in accord with fate are preserved, and those who rebel against fate will perish.
When the ways lost, duty and justice appear. One can lose the forest for the trees.
Very good, team. Now let's put all of our fortune cookie advice from last night's takeaway to good use.
I mean, they just get their take over the world motivation rather than Pokemon rights, but well, that was stupid in the context of the games, and separating the two races may have seemed a bit too similar to current events.
We are going to build a great wall and we will make the Pokemon pay for it.
Plus, even though she doesn't get much screen time, I really liked Iris. In the anime, I found her unbearably annoying, always bragging about being a stronger trainer and calling Ash a kid, while she acted even more immature and had two Pokemon, one that did nothing throughout the series, and another that didn't obey her until pretty late in Best Wishes run. It could just be because she has less screen time, but Iris' determination and abrasiveness came off as more charming than grazing here, helped by the fact that Cherami Lee, who voices her here and also Lucy in Fairy Tail, is an excellent voice actress. I get the feeling that if she'd voiced Iris in Best Wishes, I would have liked the character far more.
You guys sure do talk a whole lot, but you don't make any sense at all!
When the gym leaders do show up, it's pretty great to see. One of the highlights of Gen 5 was that its characters, especially gym leaders, were really memorable and fun, which is shown here, each leader getting a fitting intro to their personalities. Although the standouts were Elisa for being able to take down Team Plasma without getting shocked herself by Substriker, Physics, what's that? Bryson for knocking out the grunts with his bare hands while his Bertic throws a freaking Gigalith, and Drayden for being Drayden. Such a boss.
I can certainly empathize with some of what you say, but I cannot ever forgive the way you reject everything else!
Man, Shamisen really aged well.
Looking at it from your perspective, I can see how the sounds I'm making might seem like human speech to you people. And if that's the case, how can you be sure that the sounds coming out of me mean the same as the words you think I'm saying? It might be gibberish, you know?
Plus, the last scene of the two sides running towards each other kinda reminds me of Captain America Civil War, and anything reminding me of the best Marvel movie is doing something really right. Then the frozen world comes up.
Let it go, let it go.
Where Team Plasma basically perform a terrorist attack on Opelucid City for Colress and Zinzalin to obtain some DNA splices from Drayden. First off, the animation. Holy f***ing shit, the animation in this one is beautiful. Easily the best in the series. In particular, the battle between Haxorus and Team Plasma's Pokemon is breathtaking, easily as good as the Rayquaza Deoxys battle. Also, it manages to take out two Pokemon that have a type advantage against it, and considering my Pokemon had a tough time against that Haxorus in the games, I'm gonna say that's accurate. And of course, even more of Drayden being a pure badass. I really hope I can be that awesome when I grow old. Plus, it doesn't shy away from the fact that at this point in the game, Team Plasma had gone from Peter with more hypocrisy to basically Pokemon ISIS, using their life paths to blow up buildings, so yeah, pretty messed up. However, the arrival of Colress instantly turns the tide of the battle against Drayden with his Kyurem cannon.
Kyurem, you should be capable of so much more than this.
Colress is yet another great character from Gen 5 due to the fact that he's only evil because he wants knowledge on how to battle effectively. If it's through friendship, he'll be nice, but right now he seems to think terrorism is the way. And the aftermath of the Kyurem cannon is pretty creepy once it basically ice nukes Opelucid. The game has never really given the impression of it being that serious, but here it feels like something out of a disaster movie. A barren city with buildings and people completely frozen over.
Well, I guess you could say that that short was chilling.
The Universe shorts finish with The King Returns, seeing Aang confront his father Ghetsis, Team Plasma's leader, to stop him from using Kyurem to freeze Unova, ironically only helping Ghetsis' plans by enabling him to fuse Kyurem and Enzaresh around together. One thing I love about the Gen 5 shorts is the escalation in the villains. We start out with the Sages and Grunts, move up to Zinzalin and Colress, and then with the last one, we have both Team Plasma's former and current leaders. It was also nice to see the two interact really well, considering how the story arc with Aang and Ghetsis was pretty much wasted in Best Wishes. Well, from what I saw, and I stopped watching it before it concluded. As with Cyrus, the performances are also greatly improved. I really didn't like the voice actor for Ghetsis in the anime. He sounded too much like the Emperor from Star Wars if he was really bored with life.
Because we now have the Pokemon control device.
You what?
I have no need for you anymore.
Your feeble skills are no match for the power of the duck.
In this, he's voiced by Patrick Sates, who, in terms of badass anime dub actors, is really only second to Chris Sabat. He's a really imposing Ghetsis. Sure, he sounds a little too young, but he fully gets the character's personality, being arrogant, confident, and unhinged.
So you came. The freak without a human heart. Ed.
Grant George is also great as N, seeming alien due to his being raised among Pokemon, but still compassionate and hoping to make up for his evil deeds in the past.
I can't allow selfish humans to make Pokemon suffer.
When Reshiram is fused with Kyurem, it does feel pretty sad and kind of horrifying, with the eerie choir as White Kyurem is born, adding to the new beast's monstrosity. But it turns to heartbreaking when N pleads with Ghetsis and his father chews him out. Far more powerful than Giovanni and Silver's interactions, as you see how little anything means to Ghetsis, even his son's life, if it gets in the way of his dominating the world.
Father, Pokemon and human beings together take each other to greater heights. They're our partners.
Shut your mouth! Don't talk like a person, you freak! No real person can talk to a Pokemon!
However, when White Kyurem tries to freeze N, Zekrom shows up with Hilbert on top. Despite him having a pretty stupid name, this moment was epic and surprising, considering he was replaced with Iris in the Uprising, and pretty satisfying to see him and N finally meet again, to take Ghetsis down one last time. The Gen 6 shorts kick off with the Beauty Eternal. We see Lysander, the head of Lysander Labs, and secretly the boss of Team Flare, as both the benevolent businessman the public sees him and the cruel and determined criminal mastermind underneath his seemingly charitable facade. This short does well in fleshing out how the other characters in X and Y saw Lysander. In the games it was pretty freaking obvious he was the villain. Heck, he smiled less than Cyrus, and constantly talked about eternal life. Subtle. Here he's developed in a similar light to Lex Luthor, when done well, as an evil businessman who develops a good public image to cover up his underhand actions, developing the Holocaster to make communication easier and donating to Pokemon centers. Basically a Pokemon Steve Jobs, but with even weirder fashion sense. Although...
I would end the world in an instant so that beauty never fades.
Subtlety, thy name is Lysander.
The biggest problem with this short, which makes all the good points fall apart, is the guy who voices Lysander. Although his voice sounds right for the part, he doesn't give any effort in his performance and just sounds bored. It kind of works in the scenes where he acts cold and evil, but when he's supposed to be acting benevolent, he just sounds really wooden.
Thank you all for coming. I am Lysander, president of Lysander Labs.
I promise that I'm not evil. Cross my heart. Oh wait, I don't have a heart.
Also, really? No one on his board asked any questions about his secret evil-sounding project?
Lysander, I'm afraid that no one here understands what that project is.
Approve the additional budget. No more discussion.
There's no need to question it. It's not evil. I'm not evil. Why are you questioning me? I'm not acting suspicious. Who's acting suspicious? No one said you were suspicious, sir. I'm a benevolent man!
And yeah, wanting to keep the world beautiful by summoning the living embodiment of death?
Not a great plan.
They should have either got a better VA for Lysander, or given the guy 20 cups of coffee to wake him up, as he unfortunately drags this down as another contender for the weakest episode, along with the legacy.
This beautiful world will not just fade away.
You are made of stupid.
The second to last short is The Investigation. Looker makes his final appearance chasing the Pokemon thief Essentia through the Lumio City, who may have a connection to his secretary Emma. I admit, this covers part of X and Y I didn't play through because I'm stupid, so I looked up the Looker missions right after watching this and watched Munching Orange's playthrough and went,
holy crap, I need to finish X. On this short is pretty great.
Researching and playing the Looker missions in X really hit me at how layered and sympathetic Emma was. Definitely one of the best characters in the series. I'm not going to spoil all of it, but it's really something else. Also, they made Esper cute instead of creepy.
Oh my god! Game Freak!
You made Esper cuter only to beat it up?
You bastards! You vicious, heartless bastards!
There's also a pretty cool chase with Looker and Mimi pursuing Essentia, and as well as a much more personal stake for Looker in this episode, considering it isn't just some crime boss or mad scientist he's chasing this time, but a girl he feels personally responsible for, like a father almost. with the interactions they have in the flashbacks seeming pretty touching. That being said, this short does really suffer from its runtime, despite a pretty chilling reveal, although mostly thanks to a blood-curdling scream. Emma's motivations, as well as relationship with Looker, feel pretty underdeveloped. Was she just brainwashed to steal in this version rather than feeling she needed to get Looker money to repay him? I think that had there been 2 or 3 more minutes and actual dialogue in the flashbacks, this short would have been more emotionally resonant, as I was just kind of confused before I played through the actual story. Now I know it, I feel slightly more invested, but even now it feels kind of underwhelming, although Mimi is possibly the best Pokemon personality in the series.
Kick me again or pound in your brain.
All in all, this was a slightly lacking but still pretty good final appearance for Looker, and a nice emotional note for us to leave him on.
Mimi? Mr. Looker?
Our final Kalos short, and the entire series, is The Redemption. AZ confronts the newly crowned champion of Kalos as a mother reads her child the backstory of the immortal king. As far as shorts to go out on, I think this was a good choice. Not just because it's the end of X and Y's main story, but also because I found AZ to be one of the more interesting, as well as annoyingly underdeveloped parts of the games. He just had 3 appearances, one where he shows up for a few seconds, another where he dumps his backstory on you in one of the most awkward exposition scenes ever, and then his final battle. There's no expansion on his role in the games here, but something about the backstory actually being put to animation made it more powerful. Hearing AZ sob over his dead Floette really did get me kind of choked up too, and made his motivation to take revenge on the warring Pokemon who caused its death by remaking the machine to give Floette life into the ultimate weapon more understandable, although I do find the visual of Floette leaving him kind of funny.
Oh come on, Floette, all I did was commit genocide to bring you back. I mean, the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many, right?
Despite the brevity of the short, AZ's weariness thanks to his long life is very well conveyed, and Floette returning to him is incredibly heartwarming. Although just cutting to the subscribe felt kind of anticlimactic.
Ah well, this short is still great, and this series is still great.
As a way to celebrate the franchise's 20th anniversary, this was a really great thing for Pokemon to do. The moments they chose to focus on were great, the animation is excellent, the voice acting, mostly, was very good, and it was just so great to see these iconic moments from the games brought to life in animation. However, I do wish that maybe they were a little longer, as quite a few of the shorts do feel rushed. While some use their runtime to their full advantage, others I feel could have used 2 or 3 minutes to fully flesh out the stories they were telling. I also really hope they're going to release more of these, not just for Sun and Moon, although there are certainly loads of stories that they could make good shorts out of, but going back to past gens too for characters like Cynthia, Alder or Hugh. But that being said, a lot of them were really entertaining or surprisingly emotional, showcasing the best the Pokemon world had to offer. What better way was there to celebrate 20 years of this awesome franchise? Well, releasing quite possibly the best game of the series held, but these shorts were equally as excellent, and I was certainly happy to catch them all.
I'd still really like to see Pokemon in the real world! Although, granted, the Pokemon here did eat, scare the crap out of and possibly kill, drag to hell, froze, and Lord knows what else to the people in these shorts. So I think I should count my blessings. I'm Parix11, thank you for watching.